This is the MacBook Neo, and after purchasing one on release day and using it day and night for 10 days straight, I'm convinced this just might be the Mac for almost everyone, although I did feel like it missed one person out. It's Apple's newest MacBook, and everyone in the tech industry in typical fashion is talking about it, but not for the reasons you're thinking of. Number one, this is a budget-oriented MacBook which starts at $599 US or pounds, with 250 gigs of storage. Although for an extra £100 you can get the 512 of storage and the Touch ID sensor, which is faster for logins unless you have an Apple Watch, which I'm not wearing weirdly enough, which unlocks it a bit faster on your wrist. And the version you should really go for is the 512. The second, it isn't powered by M-series silicon, which is reserved for Apple Macs and the iPad Pro and Air. That changes with this as it uses a Pro series silicon, which is reserved for the Pro iPhone models and the iPad mini. This particular chip originally debuted on the iPhone 16 Pro lineup with just one bin GPU core, which is pretty cool. So you get 5 instead of 6. Now, if you're asking what binning is essentially where the CPU and GPU manufacturers will produce silicon on the same wafer, but not all silicon are equal. So instead of discarding and wasting them, they just get repurposed in different products, and it's very common practice. So don't worry, these chips aren't defective. It is actually far from it. But let's talk about the laptop as a whole and talk about performance in a second. Because this is where other laptop manufacturers are shocked. For the price, Apple has constructed a laptop made out of aluminium, by the way, which is 60% recycled, which is great to see Apple caring about sustainability, and is closer to achieving its net zero carbon emissions by 2030, hopefully. While other laptop OEMs opt for mainly plastic laptop chassis, this basically has no compromise on build, which is great. Plus, it comes in decent colours: silver, indigo, blush, and citrus, which is the halo colour for this product, and the one I personally like, which is the one we have here. And it seems to be a point to a direction where Apple is aiming for this laptop, as shown in Apple's social media presence on TikTok. And when I asked my local Apple store on release day how they were doing on sales with the Neo, they sold out of the blush on day one. The screen is beautiful. It achieves a 500 nits peak brightness and full sRGB color space, which means things will look good in almost every environment. I even took it outside in direct sunlight, and while not exactly great conditions, I was able to still do some reasonable work on this, even with a little bit of squinting and a bit of slight reflections going on. For color accurate work, still don't expect it at this price point. It's good enough, it can do photo and video, but don't expect it to be color critical. The trackpad is perfect, with it being decently sized and fully depressible everywhere, whereas many Windows laptops well above its class, including my £2,500 gaming laptop, is only fully pressable at the bottom of the trackpad. Take a look. The Magic Keyboard is also very good. I'm not the best touch typer, but even I was able to get up to speed very quickly, so much so I didn't care about its one glaring omission, the backlit keyboard. And if you need to do any work for whatever reason, maybe just whack up the brightness on your screen. Or maybe, yeah, turn the light on. The Neo's side-firing speakers for the price are very good. There was a hint of tinniness and a lack of bass when listening to The Weeknd's Timeless at first, but quickly I felt quite immersed and I forgot about being picky, and I just enjoyed the music and other content I was enjoying. And you don't even have to be full face on to experience this. You can be sat on the sides doing something else and it's completely fine. It's pretty decent, and no, it won't replace your good portable speakers, but definitely replace a lot of Windows laptops in this class. But of course, it won't be beating the Air or Pro. And this is the MacBook Neo's 1080p webcam. It's not too bad. Microphones also sound pretty good. I've just got a light source in front of me. Typical arrangement for a lot of people doing calls over video on your laptop. Obviously not as good as your smartphone will be, but still not too bad when compared to this guy over here. This is a 720p webcam on my Asus Zephyrus G16 from 2023, and it is £2,500. So a lot of money for a laptop, and you know, you'd expect a better webcam, but it is also a gaming laptop. But On the flip side, there are Windows laptops that have better webcams than this guy over here, but the webcam is pretty respectable on here. I do think it is better than most Windows laptops still, so there you go. I'll let you be the judge anyway. The point where the hardware really lets me down personally is when you rest your palms or arms on its edges. It is a little bit sharp and it can be a little bit uncomfortable. Also, coming back to this keyboard, I am worried about how those keys will look on the lighter color Neos after a few years, since being discolored over time. So please do look after them. Also, the lack of I/O. Mainly a HDMI port and a second USB port limited to USB 2.0 speeds. That is a 20-plus-year-old standard now, which is a measly 480 megabits per second compared to the 10 gigabits per second on the other port. But that's probably to do with cost restraints and the limitations of the SoC. This is where other Windows laptops would have better I/O, so be prepared to bring a dongle around with you. I forgot to bring my dongle for this. Whoops. The lack of MagSafe, Apple's genius solution to charging, and not worrying about getting your laptop yanked by the cable is absent, but it is a really nice to have. And again, being a cost conscious and knowing a Windows laptop doesn't have a charger like this isn't an issue to me. While talking about hardware letdowns, I was upset that Apple in the UK and EU don't include a 20-watt power adapter in the box, even though the US and the rest of the world seemingly does. Not a big deal in this USB-C world, but I'm sure most of us have a 20-watt charger around, and if you don't, you'll have to budget one in. But a disclaimer, please buy a decent power adapter or power bank. Please make sure you buy a well-known brand. With that out of the way, we can talk about macOS and using this little machine. And I do have a confession to make. I haven't used macOS in about 5 years, with my last MacBook being a MacBook Air from 2014, which is also a testament on how long Apple MacBooks have lasted. And this MacBook Air was still going pretty strong, although it was a bit slow at the end of its life, so things somewhat felt a tad bit new to me, but mostly familiar. If you've been coming from Windows or been using a mobile OS for a long time, macOS might be a slight bit daunting and new, but if you've used an iPad recently, it will feel a bit familiar. macOS feels snappy, and if you've used Windows recently, this will feel like a fresher breath of air, as Microsoft is currently jamming AI slop with Copilot being baked into every aspect of Windows. Smell that? That's Microsoft's lack of Copilot. Whereas Apple's implementation of AI with Apple Intelligence seems to be mainly out of the way. Primarily because it's not the best, but it's there if you need it, with Siri a button hold away, the Apple Intelligence icon in certain apps, or just right-clicking in certain apps too. In fact, the only time I felt AI slop was getting my attention while using the laptop was when I was downloading Microsoft 365 and Edge. Yes, I know people in the comments will come at me for using Edge, regardless of what operating system I use. I was just used to it, okay? Also, iPhone mirroring is so convenient. The fact that I don't have to touch my iPhone or reach to grab my iPhone is so nice. I never have to reach for my phone to grab a 2FA code from my phone, as I just copy it from my iPhone and paste from my Mac. I know Android and PhoneLink on Windows, you can achieve the same thing, but Apple's implementation is a bit better and being a smoother experience with a lot less latency. Also, if you have other Apple products, they just plain work, no setup required. If you already have them paired with your iOS device, handoff, iMessage, phone calls still works so much better than PhoneLink, so I can comfortably take a phone call on my Mac, whereas God forbid you take a call on Windows, it echoes for the other person, meaning you will have to revert to using your phone. The major apps like Adobe Cloud Creative Suite just work plain better on macOS. Even though this is not the most powerful Mac, I am reminded why most creatives who use Adobe CC use Mac. For context, the performance in Lightroom felt the same or better than my aforementioned gaming laptop with a 13th Gen i9 RTX 4070 and 48 gigs of RAM. I know RAM is super expensive right now, so I'm kind of glad that I have 48 gigs of RAM. Curses you AI, curses! The general usage of AI masking and removing was a bit quicker even when my gaming laptop was plugged in. There is no need to worry about plugging it in to get the best performance on Mac. The only thing that felt slow was exporting photos, but then again, that was more of a limitation of the SoC. With day-to-day tasks handling multiple tabs of Excel, web browsing, music, Outlook, Word, and a few Teams calls throughout the day, this laptop never skipped a beat, and other reviewers mentioned a brief moment of hitching or slowdown, especially when the 8 gigs of RAM caches into the slow SSD. The memory swapping here has happened, but I don't get that slowdown. I actually ran Geekbench and I ran it consistently just to drain the battery at one point, and it didn't feel slow at all, though the Geekbench scores did reflect it was in its low performance profile for it to last as long as possible, so that's pretty cool. But it wasn't enough! This is a good time to explore the downfalls of macOS. I'm a big fan of the clipboard and able to get my emojis out when replying to WhatsApp messages on my laptop just by pressing Windows plus full stop or period for my American friends. Whereas on macOS, you have to use Command space and then Command 4, then you get the clipboard and then you copy it, and which is just a mess. It's a 3-stage process. Apple, please fix it and please bring the clipboard to iOS, please. Screenshots are just dumped onto the desktop as well, just cluttering it up. Like, give me the option to save it to a default file where they can be saved. Like, Windows has a place where you can save it. It's great, and you can just refer to it whenever you need to. Also, Stage Manager is just plain foreign to me. I don't get the concept of it, so I just turned it off. Also, which ended up being a bit of a win, but I didn't like when my iPhone was connected at first, because I just got overwhelmed with notifications and they were just piling on. But quickly, a few tweaks in the settings just solved the issue for me, which is now a positive. So I'm checking my phone less, which is great. And if I need to check something on my phone, I can always just use the iPhone mirroring feature. Great. It's awesome, honestly. Also, not really a complaint, but I never like True Tone. I always turn it off by default because I just want to see the colors how they are. But weirdly, in Control Center, it's there if you want it, but it just won't do anything. So did someone at Apple forget to take the button away, or at least give it an error message? Look, I get it. If you're going to connect it weirdly to a studio display, the option's there, but hey ho. Also, I switched from Spotify to Apple Music just over a year ago. Personally, I just like the higher quality music. Dolby Atmos is really cool, and also artists are just paid more in Apple Music. But what really annoys me is my last played on any of these devices don't seem to carry over. At the start of the day, driving into work, when I'm just listening to emotional R&B, to just transitioning to hip hop and rap, my iPhone is going to put me back to what I was listening to, which is I Will Always Love You by Whitney Houston, when I just really wanted to listen to Fiend by Travis Scott. It's where Apple just dropped the magic of its continuity, but I know it's very much a first world problem. Apart from that, my main issues were very small, and it's still refreshing coming from Windows. I just wish more devs get in front of macOS, as apps that I use, like TrueViewer from Autodesk, and there's a special label maker software I use for work, isn't available. So I have to run something like Parallels to get Windows running in a VM, a virtual machine, which is probably a good time to talk about the performance, because while it can run Windows 11 in VM, it was really laggy when I was just opening a document on TrueViewer, so just avoid doing that. It's great in a pinch, just know it'll be slow. But coming back to performance, it is actually just really good. And while we shouldn't be impressed that a smartphone chip can do all this, it's just shown how far smartphones have come. In single-threaded workloads, i.e. what you'll be doing most of the time, and the stuff that I was talking about before, performance is really good. And according to Geekbench, this slots under the M4 MacBook Air, which is above the M3 Ultra found in the Mac Studio. Like, what? Although in multi-threaded workloads, it's firmly in M1 performance, which is not bad at all. Now just imagine what it could do if Apple had just given the A18 Pro a better cooling solution than just a graphene thermal sheet. Apple really didn't want to put a fan or let the A18 Pro use the laptop chassis as a way to dissipate heat, and it's increased in power limits as well. It's only got 8 watts. Whereas the M series silicon just runs at least double. However, this isn't what this laptop is about. It's really for everyday computing, like I mentioned before. Now, the biggest reason for the Neo being the best value and the most affordable MacBook ever is because of Apple's excellent supply chain and optimizations to software, and pushing those recycled parts like the SoC, like the A18 Pro, hard. It's capable of everything apart from the tasks that require extended heavy workloads, like stacking 4K video with LUTs and effects or to render 3D models. And if you do, it will chug. You'll also notice the battery takes a hit. After all, it does have a smaller battery at 36.5 watt hours, which is super capable, and I have no issues getting through the day with a charger, with the office workload, with Teams meetings going on. The only annoyance is don't expect to charge the battery super quick. The battery will hover at 30 watts or 32 watts maximum according to my battery bank, and getting up to 100 from 0 is about 2+ hours. So if you use this every day at work, at the desk, with a dock, you'll rarely feel the slow charging speeds. So who's the MacBook Neo for? As I alluded earlier, this is a product aimed at students, with the £100 educational discount making it $499 or $599 for the 512. But if you're going to do anything related to apps or programming that needs Windows, like SolidWorks or ANSYS, this shouldn't be the device for you. There are plenty of Windows devices around at this price point that will just work better. But if you insist on having a MacBook, get ready to rely on the computers on campus or your peers or at work. Or maybe go for a refurbished M4 MacBook Air or Pro for a bit more money, or go all out and get a brand new one with the M5, and then you can just run parallels way more efficiently. An interesting development is my girlfriend, who decided to go back to uni, weirdly turned back to me and said she liked the MacBook Neo after seeing this one, which is somewhat unusual because she has a very strong preference to non-Apple devices, so she does prefer Android and Windows, but she would use it as a second laptop, which I found quite interesting because she has a gaming laptop herself and she just doesn't want to lug it around with the charger as well. So that's really interesting. Another use case is this is perfect for families, especially younger families who aren't techy at all. I have friends who exclusively use iPhones and iPads with no computer inside. Oh, what a time to not be alive. Ugh. You can connect it to a dongle or a dock with cheap peripherals. This could be used as their family computer where their mobile devices aren't cutting the mustard quick enough to do certain tasks, or they demand a bit more care whatever task they do. Now in my case, I work in an office, managing databases, working in Excel, Word, juggling emails, and talking to a few people on Teams. Now, I'm so close to making this my everyday machine, and it's only because of one reason. Apple should have just pivoted a little bit more to appease its office workers, or not its office workers, but office workers in general. Just give me the 2 external displays, Apple. Give me 2 external displays, please. While it's quick enough to do certain tasks, I did feel limited and a tad bit slower, as I prefer having 2 27-inch monitors and the laptop being a third display to hold Teams or Outlook while focusing on other tasks. I'm not the only one who runs this setup, and yes, you could give me an ultra-wide, but it's just not the same. And also, if you go for a really wide one, it's just not a good use of money. However, I did connect it to my setup at work, and I did notice both external monitors did display, but it would only detect one display in macOS, which means I could only extend one display. I assume this is just a behavior of my Thunderbolt 3 dock rather than the laptop. I don't know, but yeah, it's just a shame. I do really hope Apple considers allowing users to use 2 external displays in future iterations. I mean, it makes sense. You could go after businesses with this, you know, just do it, Apple. Go after the businesses as well. Just dominate the landscape, please. It'll be really interesting to see what Windows can come up with. Now, apart from the professional photographers, videographers, gamers, or anyone using the GPU and CPU extensively, and those people like me who just need that second external monitor, this is a laptop greater than the sum of its parts, and it could easily be the everyday laptop for most people, and it will be my go-to recommendation I give to people that just want a laptop to do everyday things. What do you think? I'd love to know your thoughts. So maybe comment below. Also, how did I do? This is my first YouTube video, so subscribe, all that stuff, and make the algorithm like me. And yeah, just keep doing good, and I'll see you in the next one. Ooh. The major apps like Adobe Creative Cloud Suites just work. Why am I trying to jazz it up? I shouldn't jazz it up. So much better than Phone Link. Really? Where is the hairdryer? It's in this bag. Here, Amma.